o mundo. O que você vê? Um pálido ponto azul na imensidão do universo? 8 bilhões de pessoas se acotovelando todos os dias? Montanhas, oceanos, praias e rios? Ou então diferentes culturas, experiências, conhecimento e oportunidades? Se esta é a sua resposta, bem-vindo a Grade Up.
Olá, tudo bem com você? Muito feliz hoje de participar e ter mais uma grande convidada aqui no nosso Grade Up Talks. Hoje falando sobre um destino fantástico, a Escócia. E principalmente falando de uma grande e prestigiada universidade, a University of St. Andrews, com a minha colega Débora, diretamente lá da Escócia, trazendo todas as dicas de como funcionam os processos de candidatura, como é a vida de estudante e, claro, todas as dicas para que vocês possam enviar a melhor candidatura possível. Meu nome é Leonardo Trench, sou diretor e fundador aqui da Grade Up, uma empresa brasileira que orienta e prepara alunos de todo o Brasil para programas de boarding school, ou seja, ensino médio lá fora, programas de graduação, graduação sanduíche, mestrado, MBA e até mestrado jurídico, o famoso LLM. Hoje é mais um dia, como eu mencionei, de esclarecer tudo sobre essa prestigiada instituição. A gente vai manter esse webinar em inglês, mas é claro, nossa equipe está aqui para sanar qualquer dúvida e, por favor, fique à vontade em colocar os seus questionamentos aqui no nosso chat. Se você gosta do assunto, gosta de educação, também convide seus amigos, seus colegas, porque os próximos 30 minutos serão de grande valia. Deborah, thank you very much for your participation here in our webinar. Every Tuesday at midday, we do have a guest, but it's my pleasure to have you here with us at these Grade Up Talks. And obviously, the first question, why Brazilian students should choose Scotland? What are different? What you guys have to offer in such a fantastic country? Welcome.
Thank you very much, Leo. It's very good to be able to join you this afternoon, and I appreciate your time, and I hope your audience finds this a useful presentation. Scotland is part of the UK. It is one of the 4 nations in the United Kingdom, the furthest north, but also it is different from the rest of the UK for students because we have a different degree shape than the rest of the UK. So Scotland, like much of the UK, is a beautiful country. We have fabulous history, great scenery, and lots of things to experience here. But our degree is a different shape to the ones offered in the rest of the UK. Unlike in England, Ireland, and Wales, where there is a 3-year bachelor's programme, our universities typically offer a 4 years bachelor's, which will be familiar to your audience who is looking towards the US for their studies. The liberal arts degree in America was based actually on the Scottish 4-year degree programme. And it is a programme that encourages students to have both a breadth of learning as well as a depth of learning, because you will study not only your major subject, but also 2, 3, or maybe even up to 5 other subjects alongside your major. In the end, because of this degree shape, it is possible to switch your major as well, and up to 40% of our graduates at St. Andrews end up with a degree that is not in the subject that they joined us to study. So we offer flexibility as well as a great country to study in.
Deborah, that's a good point, and you mentioned a very important factor, especially for us in education, flexibility. And I think you guys really provide that. And we do have a case. Our student Victor started his international foundation at the university thinking about mathematics and philosophy. And today he's graduating this coming June in anthropology and philosophy. So during the course, he starts to evaluate and know himself better, to choose the paths. He's a great student, obviously will, I'm sure, progress to a master's and a PhD. He actually really enjoys research, and that's one main feature of St. Andrews. But again, how about, we always hear about St. Andrews, obviously the prestige, the quality of education, but St. Andrews has one interesting feature, which is student satisfaction, always on the top. Why do you believe St. Andrews provide that student satisfaction at so high level?
Yeah, thanks for that, Leo. The prestige of the university is because of our rankings, as you mentioned. And these are tables that provide an assessment about the programs that we offer and the research that we offer. And the university scores very highly on these. Particularly, we are at the moment #1 in the UK, ahead of Oxford and Cambridge. We are Scotland's University of the Year, and internationally we're in the QS Top 100, which tells you very much that the quality of our programs and the education we offer here is outstanding and very much world class. But one of the ways in which you can check whether a university is right for you is to look at the students who've been there and find out what their opinion was of the education they received. Because yes, rankings are important, but for you as an individual student, your experience is the main thing that you want to be sure will be right for you. And student experience is a way in which our graduating students are asked for their report, if you like, on their experience with us. It happens across the UK. This is a national league table. And for around 13 of the last 15 years, Scotland, and in particular St. Andrews, has come out very highly. In fact, we've been #1 for those 13 out of 15 years. And why is that? I think a combination of things. I think it's a combination of the place, which is a very special place. It's a small town where the university and the town are very mixed together. It's a beautiful place. It's a place to inspire and to engage students. I think the other thing is the people that are here. We're a very multinational university, attracting students from across the world. So it's great for meeting other cultures and other nationalities, and for experiencing something different to what you might have been used to from home. And also we offer exceptional student support. I mentioned already the flexibility of the degree, and you will have a director of studies who will help you make those choices as you go through your degree. But you also have a team of welfare and student support officers who are there for you for whatever problems might come up through the course of your degree. And you're here for probably 4, maybe longer years. So there will be things that come up. You might find you are homesick. You might need help with managing your money. You might want to be able to explore Europe, and where do you start? And for all of these questions, we have student support that will help. And I think it's the combination of those things that give us such a great student satisfaction rating.
You're right. It's a great combination. And my time visiting St. Andrews, I was impressed also with the sports facilities and the student engagement, representing the university as well, which obviously makes that satisfaction very high.
Yeah.
I think the other point as well that, as you mentioned in the beginning, is to clarify how Brazilian students can can access all undergrad programs. Here in Brazil, obviously, we do have our Brazilian ensino médio, and some schools obviously delivering IB. Can you just clarify, for Brazilian ensino médio, our Brazilian curriculum, what's the path for them to get a place at the University of St. Andrews? I believe it's the International Foundation, correct?
Yes, that's right. So we have a couple of routes into our programs here, one of which is designed for students who have a very strong qualification and good grades, but whose qualification is not recognized for application direct to the degree. The Ensino Médio is exactly an example of this. So we have foundation programs for Brazilian students. They will need a score of 8 on a 10 or 80%, depending on how it's graded, to be able to apply for our foundation programs. But these are pre-degree programs, typically 1 year duration, that give access to all of the degree programs that we have at St Andrews. And they are a really strong preparation for the degrees. So they give you more subject-based knowledge and background for your intended degree, but also study skills, time management skills, and just general organization around living independently away from home. So our progression rates are high. Typically around 85% of our students on foundation move on to a degree at St Andrews. And the quality of the program is why we need you to have an 8 on a 10 from your Ensino Medio. If you have an IB or you've done A-levels perhaps in an international school, you can apply directly to the degree programs and you would not be eligible for foundation with those kinds of international qualifications.
Fantastic. I believe, and that's our experience, all students that we place at St Andrews for the foundation, all of them had a great experience. And it's very interesting because their progression and their performance was really high over the next 4 years.
Yeah.
So the foundation really created an opportunity for them to engage and understand the methodology and how the university works. That gave them great confidence. And I think that's quite important as well for you to progress and finish well your degree.
Yeah, very much so. And one of the keys to that, Leo, is the fact that the students who come on foundation here are full matriculated or registered St Andrews students from the day they begin foundation. In some cases, a pre-degree program can be offered by an external provider, and that is going to perhaps give you a range of universities to go to afterwards, but you won't then experience that university from within the pre-degree program. Our setup is slightly different at St Andrews, and the foundation program is part of the university. It's delivered by university staff. In cases like the science program and the medicine program, you will be engaged with School of Medicine and this Faculty of Science professors in your foundation program. So you are very much experiencing the university as a full St Andrews student from the beginning, which is what gives rise to that confidence and the security that you know how it all works by the time you join the degree program.
Fantastic. And the International Foundation, Deborah, is organized by subject. So just for our audience, get to know these main subjects. Can you just explain? I believe you have medicine, business, science. Please explain to all of us.
You can join any of our degree programs from one of our foundation programs. There are September and January start dates for them. And in September, you have the option of 2 different medicine programs, one of which is 2 years in duration. The other is 1. Most students with the Ensino Medio would be able to join the 1 year program. We also have an international year 1 in science, which gives progression straight on to year 2 of a degree in the science faculty. And we have 2 international year 0 programs in business and in social sciences and humanities. So that would be if you were interested in subjects like international relations, perhaps, or economics, history, languages, that kind of program. In the January, we have 3. We have an 18-month-long medicine program. We have an international year 0 for business again, and also for social sciences and humanities. And the ones that start in January, not medicine, the business and social sciences programs, allow progression in the same year. So you join in January, you finish your foundation program in May, and you move on to a degree program in the September of the same year.
That's very good. And most of our students, they join international foundations in January because that, fits quite well with our school calendar here. So having the opportunity to start in January, and in particular these very popular subjects, gives our students here great opportunities. That's very good. So for you guys, means you start in January, probably will finish in August, starting your degree in September. So it fits quite well.
Yeah, it actually finishes earlier than that, Leo. It's
earlier.
Yeah. It's essentially one very full semester. There is a break for studying and revising in the middle for exams, but it is a very full, it's called an intense program because it is short.
That's very good. So the student have the opportunity to go back to your country as well, get prepared, and then, okay, that's much better. So it gives a good time to prepare for the degree.
Yeah.
Great. And Deborah, can you clarify? Obviously, you mentioned, and St. Andrews is so international, very cosmopolitan, a lot of nationalities, but I believe the number of Brazilians could be even higher. And one of the aspects that sometimes we need to clarify, and especially those living in big cities. Oh, okay, but I'm going to a very small city. But I believe you have mentioned one very interesting point, which is the community. You are in the mix of the community, the city, so you really engage and have friends for life. Is that correct?
Yes. So we have the University of St. Andrews, reputation-wise, is huge and worldwide, but it is a small place and a relatively small university. So we have a student body of around 10,000, and the town itself has a total population just over 20,000. So from this, you can see that we are almost half of the town's population with the students here. And for this reason, the combination of town and university is a very special one. And it feels like a very educated place to come and study. It's the kind of place where the university's buildings are mixed in with the town. And when you are walking around the town, you will hear students in conversation alongside local residents doing their shopping. And it is a very nice mixture of local people and overseas visitors and students from all over the UK and the EU.
Okay.
I think what's key about the combination of nationalities, and you mentioned that, of course, we would always like more Brazilians. We have so many nationalities, but quite a lot of them are represented by a few numbers only, 10, 20, 30 students from particular countries. Our wish is to have as multinational a student body as we can, because we're very sure that the global world that we now live in terms of work and connection and opportunity needs people who understand how the wider world works. And the thing about studying at St. Andrews is that you can come here to what seems to be a small town on the east coast of Scotland, but here you can meet the rest of the world. You can meet students from most countries in the world and make networking connections that will give you not just lifelong friends, as you mentioned, but also future networking opportunities for work and for further study, and just for really having an enhanced understanding of how you might be able to contribute to the world after you leave university.
Fantastic. It's a very traditional university in a very good city, great landscape, and there are so many historical facts about the city and the university. And I believe one of them, Deborah, is still, if you can clarify, tell us, our audience, what's the Gaudi? It's so beautiful, that tradition. But what does that mean? What's that?
This is a torchlight procession, and it is very beautiful. It's partly beautiful because our evenings in the wintertime can be very dark. And so torchlight is then a very dramatic and beautiful way to celebrate something important. It's one of many traditions that we have at this university because we are over 600 years old. And that means that you build up traditions that come from either heroic deeds or from students or from things that have happened historically at this university. And so again, foundation students, undergrad students onwards, postgrads too, can become involved in these as much or as little as they want. The Gaudi procession invites students to wear the red gown, which is another big tradition at St. Andrews, something that started a couple of hundred years ago as a way of making sure that the townspeople knew which of the people around them were students and which were not, And so students, undergraduates, wear a red gown, cherry red gown. It is no longer compulsory, it's entirely optional, but it makes for a very dramatic picture. And if your audience is looking at any information around St Andrews, they are likely to see processions of red gown students walking either on the pier or with the Gaudi at nighttime with torchlight processions. So these are things that make an experience here unique. These things don't happen anywhere else. And they also bind people together because these are a shared memory for a connection down the line. If you meet somebody in 5, 10, or 50 years after you've graduated, this will be a shared connection that you can immediately connect with.
Absolutely, absolutely. If you don't know what we are talking about, go there to our Instagram. There is a story there and showing a little bit about the Gaudi. Very good to watch it. But Deborah, St Andrews is very well known as well, obviously for the academic bit, for the research, for the student satisfaction. Right. Great alumni network as well. Can you highlight just a few names so people, can engage, and obviously big names, academically speaking, celebrities, just a bit of taste.
Yes, St Andrews is a very traditional university, and we're usually and Scottish, and that makes us usually a little shy about being too forward with this information. But I'm sure some of your audience will know that we have had members of the royal family study at St Andrews, not just our own British royal family. Prince William and the Princess of Wales, Catherine, were both here, but also other royal families have chosen to send students to us. So it is something that routinely we would expect there to be that kind of representation here. But also we have had many famous scientists and writers and poets and actors even come to St Andrews. This, again, is something that you can find if you look online, but it's not something that you will find in our promotional materials, because we want to make sure that you feel that you can come without any famous connection or background, and that you are judged here on your merit and on the contribution that you can make both to your subject but also to the community here. So when students apply to us, we're very much looking at their personal statement, which is a key part of the application for St Andrews. We read each one. That's not always the case at other universities. Sometimes it is supplementary information. For us, it is very important as part of our decision making. And we would want to know about your passion for the subject that you're applying to, but also have evidence from you about how you would contribute to life at St Andrews. As I've already mentioned, it's a small town, and if we had students here who only came to study and never left their study bedrooms because they were so busy working hard, there would not be the life that we enjoy in the town for the students here. There would not be the amount of sports and societies and clubs, the charity work, the theatres and the productions that happen there. So we want students from any background, with any previous experience, but who are academically strong and who want to contribute to the external extracurricular life of the university here. So yes, we have famous alumni, but we're always very happy to have people with no fame in their background or in their future.
Of course. And as you touch base on the personal statement, you guys have a very selective process. You have a holistic approach. Can you share with us, obviously you're looking into the personal statement, which is a great opportunity to share why, what you contribute to the university, why you have such a interest in that subject. But you also asked for a reference. You also asked for good grades at your school. In our case, 8 out of 10. What else? What else they need to show? Extracurricular activity. How do you guys, expect those informations to select Brazilian students, Deborah?
Yeah, so you have the opportunity when you apply to give us 3 main pieces of evidence as to why we should give you an offer of a place here. The first one, as you mentioned, Leo, is the academic evidence. So your school transcript will tell us all we need to know about your ability to do well in subjects that are relevant to your intended degree. The next piece of evidence that will back that up is a reference from your school, where hopefully your teacher or counsellor will be able to confirm that you're a good student, that you know how to study well, but also that you are mature enough to be able to tackle an experience like studying abroad. And the other key bit of evidence is your personal statement. So what I would advise is that you try not to repeat what is in your transcript and in your reference. Don't use your very tight word limit to say the same thing that we can see in those two other pieces of evidence, but rather use your personal statement to explain what is inspiring you to study the degree that you want to study with us. How do you know about it? What have you read? Have you had any experience in it? We don't necessarily need or want you to have previous experience, but we do want to know why you've chosen that subject against all the other ones that we maybe offer or that you could study elsewhere. We also want to know that you are going to be able to balance your work and your spare time, because 4 years is an intense time here studying. We do expect you to work hard, but we also want to know that you have outlets beyond your studies that will keep you in a healthy state of mind. Make sure that you are exercising or devoting yourself to hobbies or things like music, perhaps, if that's an interest. So we'd like to know about those extracurricular activities, but only insofar as they give more evidence to your interest in the degree. So one of my suggestions when you are putting together your information around extracurricular activities is that you ask yourself, I'm explaining that I am a good swimmer and I'm in the swimming team. Ask yourself, so what? Why does that matter that you are in the swimming team? And from a recruiter's point of view, like me, somebody that reads applications, I want to know what the swimming that you do does to make you a better candidate for us. So maybe it makes you very disciplined because you have to show up for training at a horrible time of day. Maybe it makes you a team player because you are part of a relay team, and that gives you good listening skills and good organizational skills. So try and think about why your extracurricular activity can support your application and tell us that. Don't assume that we will figure that out. Tell us.
That's very good, very important tips. And I'm well aware, and we have had a few students, Deborah, that join your international summer program. Does that help the candidate? Does that help the student? Or even if the student has not interest in progress to undergrad, I'm sure that experience at St. Andrews will be, memorable for life. Is that correct?
Yes, we have a summer program for 16 to 18-year-olds who are interested in just exploring what it feels like to go to university. So these happen for 3 weeks in July. This summer, I believe we only have places now on Making Scotland and Sustainable Development courses. But there are other courses in medicine, in physics, maths, comp sci, and also in psychology and neuroscience, for example. And these are courses that you could sign up to in September for next year to just give you a flavor of what it is like to live and study in the University of St. Andrews. That could be useful either to decide to study somewhere else in the UK because you have experienced it for 3 weeks, or just for the experience of getting with other students who are from different nationalities and figuring out what subject area you might want to then apply to study elsewhere.
That's very important. And please do take a note. Summer camp for 2024 will be opening in September.
In September.
You need to apply well in advance because there are limited places at St. Andrews.
Yeah.
So please do get in contact if you really wish to have that experience in St. Andrews next year. Deborah, we are coming to the end. I appreciate your time. It was a pleasure having you and clarify a little bit more about the University of St. Andrews, International Foundation Program, inviting for applications next summer. But also, please do get in contact with us if you'd like more information, if you'd like one-to-one with us here from Grade Up and Deborah and her team, because we are here to assist you during this journey. Deborah, thank you very much.
Thanks a lot for your time, Leo. I appreciate it. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. See you.
Bye.
Eu sempre quis fazer estudar fora em algum momento, fazer um intercâmbio, algo assim. Nunca pensei em fazer a graduação inteira fora, nunca pensei em passar tanto tempo fora quanto acabei passando, que realmente me deu essa visão de que era uma realidade, não era só um sonho. Foi um evento da Grade Up.
Eles me apresentaram todas essas possibilidades de várias universidades, eles me deram várias oportunidades assim de conhecer diferentes universidades.
É uma coisa mesmo para se preocupar, realmente é isso. Ele te libera para poder se preocupar com as coisas boas mesmo, né? Com as coisas que realmente importam.
Eu sempre recomendo a Grade Up, eu acho que eles conhecerem como é lá fora, não só na teoria aqui, é bem diferente e as opções que eles apresentam pra gente são muitas também, o conhecimento que eles têm é enorme, então eu recomendaria 100%.
Nosso grande foco desde o dia número 1 aqui da empresa foi ensino superior. A gente vende aqui tempo, a gente vende o nosso expertise e as decisões dos alunos, das famílias são importantes. O nosso DNA realmente ele preza muito por isso, pela questão personalizada, pela individualidade, pelo nome das pessoas. O aluno, a família, realmente ela está no centro aqui de todas as atividades. Ao mesmo tempo a gente está falando de educação, então isso está atrelado ao sonho e assim como eu tive, eu quero trazer o que há de melhor. Então nesse trabalho durante esses últimos 10 anos, foi isso que nos trouxe até aqui. Em 10 anos, muita coisa mudou. Contudo, o comprometimento e dedicação da Grade Up continuam os mesmos. Nosso alto índice de aceitação nas principais universidades do mundo só é possível graças ao trabalho de profissionais altamente qualificados que atendem cada aluno de forma personalizada. Para nós, estudantes não são meros números, eles têm nome, sonhos e anseios. Em 10 anos de existência, cada estudante que entra pela nossa porta passa a fazer parte da nossa história. Trilhamos juntos os caminhos que levam ao exterior. Afinal de contas, sonho que se sonha só é só sonho, mas sonho que se sonha junto é realidade. Por mais décadas, como os últimos 10 anos.